This is a video presentation created to help you understand what is entailed in renting a home in Omaha, Nebraska. After you watch the video, we hope you better understand your lease, what is required of you, the tenant, what is required of your property management company, and what kind of housekeeping practices are customary in Omaha. It is important to understand the three parties involved with rental properties: the property owner, the property management company, and the tenant. The lease agreement you are signing is a legal contract between you, the tenant, and the property owner. The property owner oftentimes pays a property management company to perform the duties required in renting properties. The duties of the property management company include collecting rent, responding to maintenance requests, providing you with keys at move-in, and administering paperwork that is associated with the home. In other words, the property management company is working for the property owner, and you, the tenant, are the property management company's customer. The lease is the agreement that you sign to obtain housing. This agreement is typically for a 12-month duration. It is very important that you pay your rent on time if you want to continue to live in your home. Paying your rent on time means that your rent must be in the hands of the property management company on the first of the month. It is so important that your rent be on time that it is recommended that you actually turn it in before it is due. After the first of the month, many property management companies have what is known as a grace period, in which there is no penalty for rent being late. Make sure you know how long the grace period is in your particular lease. The grace period is there for your protection. It is for emergency situations only. If this grace period passes and you still have not turned in your rent, you will be charged with a very expensive late fee. If your rent is continually late, you run the risk of the owner not letting you stay in your apartment after your lease term is up and thereby forcing you to move. It is also important to note that if your rent is late, it is customary for the money for you to pay to be allocated towards the late fee first, any outstanding maintenance costs second, and then to rent. For example, if your rent is $500 and you pay late, $50 would first go to the late fee, $100 to the maintenance fee if you have them, and then $350 to rent, which means you would still owe $150 to maintain residency in that apartment in this example. Always pay your rent on time to avoid these problems. If this grace period passes and you still have not turned in your rent, you will be given what is known as a 3-day notice. This 3-day notice states that you have 3 days to become current with your rent. If you fail to do this, the process to remove you from your apartment will begin. This process is called eviction. The timeline and process for eviction in the state of Nebraska is as follows. Number 1, notice of failure to pay rent. You will get a 3-day notice or a 30-day notice to evict, and you have 3 days, which does not include the day you receive the notice, to pay the rent owed. Number 2, if you do not pay by the 3rd day, on the 4th day your landlord may petition the court for a writ of restitution. Number 3, the court has not less than 10 days or more than 14 days to schedule a hearing. You will receive an official notice to appear in court, and you must attend the hearing or the judgment will automatically go against you. Number 4, if the landlord wins the judgment, the constable will then have up to 10 days to evict you, but he could evict you the same day as the hearing. Number 5, typically you cannot get the court date delayed. Number 6, you may be able to appeal the judge's decision once it's made. If your landlord attempts to evict you without going to court, call the police and inform them that you are involved in a dispute with the landlord and have not had a court hearing on the matter. Also call the Fair Housing Center of Nebraska and Iowa. Please note that after the initial 12 months of your contract, your lease may turn into a month-to-month agreement. Make sure you know what happens in your lease after the initial 12 months are up. When you decide you would like to move out, you need to give your property management company 30 days notice in writing. The 30 days usually begins at the beginning of the month. For example, if you give notice of your intention to move on May 1st, then you may move out May 31st. But if you give notice on May 5th, you are responsible for rent until June 30th. These move-out policies can be very confusing, so make sure you understand the move-out process in your particular lease and how much notice you need to give the property management company when you want to move out. It is A good practice to never pay your rent in cash. If you pay cash, you will have no record that you in fact turned in your rent. If you pay with a check, you will have a carbon copy and bank statement to prove the check was cashed. Certified check, cashier's check, personal check, or money order are good forms of payment for rent. If you write a check and do not have enough money in your checking account to cover it, you will be charged with a bounced check fee. When you rent a home, you are required to place a security deposit. A security deposit is a lump sum of money that the property management company holds to protect themselves from damage to the home. If there is no damage to the home when you move out, they are required to give that money back to you. In Nebraska, the security deposit cannot exceed 1 month's rent unless you have pets, in which case it can be more. A move-out inspection will be conducted typically after you move out, and it is in that inspection where they determine what damage or cleaning costs they will deduct from your security deposit. Many companies will supply you with an itemized list called a move-out checklist, which outlines the costs associated with leaving the unit damaged or dirty. Ask for this move-out checklist if you do not receive one with your lease. It is important to note that if the damage to the home costs more to fix than the amount of the security deposit, then you can be liable for the extra charges. In order to get your security deposit back when you move out, the home must basically be in the same condition as when you moved in. Things you could be charged for after you move out include any stains on the carpet that cannot be removed with a steam cleaner, holes in the walls, broken screens, broken doors, stickers on the walls, any writing on the walls, and a dirty refrigerator or stove. Normal wear, which would typically not be deducted from your security deposit, include tiny nail holes from hanging pictures, the wear on the carpet from repeatedly walking on it. You may also be required to follow specific procedures when moving out to get your security deposit back. Requirements for getting your security deposit back may include allowing the property management company to show your home the last 30 days that you live there and returning the keys to the office. It is a good idea to take photographs that you can print onto paper of your home before you move in and after you move out to prove you did not damage it. When you move into a home, make sure you provide your property management company with a list of things that are broken within the first 10 days that you occupy the unit. If you fail to provide the property management company with a list of things that are wrong with the home within those 10 days, it will be assumed that you did the damage and you could be held responsible for it. Damage to report when you move in include marks on the walls, broken hinges on the cabinet, broken windows or screens, appliances that are not working properly, etc. It's important to note that you may not use your security deposit as rental payment. It is also important to note that the only people allowed to reside in the apartment are those stated on the lease. If any of the tenants change, you need to let the property management company know. If you violate this rule or any other part of the lease, you could receive a notice called a 14 30-day notice. The 14 30-day notice says that you have 14 days to fix the problem that is causing you to be in violation of your lease and let the property management company know you have done so, or you have 30 days from receiving the letter to move out. Examples of things that could cause you to receive a 14 30-day notice include trash on the premise of the building, furniture piled up in the yard, not mowing the lawn or shoveling the driveway when that is your responsibility, and noise complaints from the neighbors. It is important to contact your property management company if your drain is clogged or anything is broken in the unit that you need them to fix. If your maintenance request is not an emergency, call the property management company during their regular business hours, usually 8 to 5 Monday through Friday. If it is an emergency, for example, if there is water in your house where it should not be, like pooling on the floor or dripping from the ceiling, this is considered an emergency. There is foul-smelling sewage backing up in your unit, your heat goes out in the middle of winter, or you smell gas. These are emergencies. In emergency situations, the property management company is allowed to come into your home without notice. For non-emergency items, they are required to give you a day's notice. For example, you can be notified at 9 p.m. of entry at 8 a.m. the next morning. If you call the property management company and they send a maintenance staff to help you, please have someone there at that time to answer the door. It's important that you open the door for these people so they can fix your problem. Contact your property management company if you plan on being away from your apartment for more than 7 days. If you are absent for more than a week, it is considered abandonment and your lease could be terminated. The property management company or building owner is not required under any circumstances to replace your personal property. To protect yourself from the replacement costs of your personal property, it is highly recommended that you get renter's insurance. Renter's insurance is an insurance policy where you pay a small amount of money every month, and if there is a fire or a water leak and your personal property is damaged, the insurance company will pay for its replacement. Your property management company's responsibilities to you include keeping the building in a safe, habitable condition. This means they need to fix items that are broken in a reasonable time frame. They need to make sure that the property stays in good repair. The roof has to keep water out of the home. Bug infestations must be dealt with. Steps and railings need to be safe, etc. You should have hot and cold running water, heat, gas, and electric. If you are without these essential services due to the negligence or willful act of the landlord, they could be liable in a court of law. It is also important to note that your rent has to stay the same for the duration of your lease. This means that your property manager cannot raise your monthly payment during the 12 months your lease is in effect. It is against the law for the landlord to treat you differently because of your race, color, national origin, gender, religion, mental or physical disability, familial status, meaning the presence of children under the age of 18, or marital status. If you feel that your property manager or building owner is not following the law or fulfilling their responsibilities, you can contact the Fair Housing Center of Nebraska and Iowa or the City of Omaha Human Rights and Relations Department for help. Now, some important notes about cleaning customs in Omaha. It is important to keep your floors clean and clear of crumbs and spices so as not to invite insects or mice into your home. It is customary to vacuum your carpets at least once a week. If you have hardwood floors or hard floors, you may want to sweep at least every other day in the kitchen and every week throughout the home. It is also customary to cover food when putting it in the refrigerator or leaving it out. Raw meat and eggs go in the refrigerator. It is a good idea to have a top on your kitchen trash can to keep bugs away and foul smells out of your living area. Trash goes in a dumpster if you live in an apartment complex or out to the curb once a week if you live in a house. Ask your property manager what day your trash is picked up. Trash should be removed from the home at least once a week or even every 3 days if it contains food or diapers. Purchase an all-purpose cleaner and clean the surfaces of your home on a regular basis. If food spills on the burner of your stove, wipe it up. Burners are to remain off unless they are in use. It is customary to clean your bathroom once a week. If your toilet doesn't seem to be working, it could be clogged. Use a plunger to fix it. If you are renting a house, you are probably in charge of mowing the grass and keeping the walkway shoveled when it snows. Grass is typically mowed once a week, and snow needs to be removed from the sidewalk in front of your home within 48 hours of snowfall. You may not paint your rental home without written permission from the property owner. You may not get your home rekeyed in case a property management company needs to enter in the case of an emergency. You may not conduct business in your home, as it is a private residence only. You may not take any of the personal property from the apartment when you move out, including the refrigerator, stove, or microwave oven. It is a good idea to bring an interpreter to the lease signing so that you can ask questions and understand all aspects of your lease. We recommend that you have answers to the following questions before you sign the lease. Does your lease turn into a month-to-month agreement after the initial term is up? Who pays for the utilities, including water, gas, electric, and cable? And how do you get the utilities turned on? What have these expenses been in the past for this property? How much is the rent, and where and how do you turn it in? What is expected of you when you want to move out so you can get your security deposit back? What is the amount of the late fee for late rent? When is rent considered late? And what is the length of the grace period? What number do you call if you have a maintenance problem? Do they have a move-in, move-out checklist? If so, make sure you get it, and if not, make one up yourself. Make sure you know where the trash goes. Make sure you know if you are responsible for mowing the grass or shoveling the walkway and which parts of the sidewalk you must shovel. Make sure you know where to keep your parking pass if you have one, and where to park so you do not get towed. Make sure you know where the laundry facilities are and how to use them. Thank you for watching this video on renting a home in Omaha. We hope your experience here is a pleasant one and wish you luck on your new adventure. Now please stay tuned for a special message about lead poisoning.
The amount of lead it takes to poison a child is the equivalent to 3 grains of sugar. We care about protecting you and your family from lead. Prior to 1978, lead was a common additive in many household paints. It was banned that year because it can cause significant health problems in children and in adults. Lead can be found inside homes, but it can also be found in soil, old water pipes, toys, ceramics, and even some imported foods. Federal law requires landlords to disclose any information they know about the presence of or problems with lead-based paint on the property they are selling or leasing. This disclosure requirement must be met before a sales contract or lease is signed. This law protects buyers and renters by making them aware of everything the seller or landlord knows about lead-based paint hazards before buying or renting the property. That way, buyers and renters have more information about the property before they decide to buy or rent. However, this law does not require a seller or landlord to test for lead. So, just because a seller or landlord does not disclose lead hazards, there still might be lead hazards. When renting, you will receive a disclosure form that tells you if the landlord has knowledge of any testing for lead done on the property, and if the landlord has any knowledge of lead-based paint hazards. If the property you rent was built before 1978 and you see chipping or peeling paint, notify your landlord. You can also contact the Douglas County Health Department if your landlord does not address the situation. You may not withhold rent from your landlord at any time during the process. As a renter, there are simple steps you can take to protect your family from lead inside and outside the home. Careful cleaning around windows and doors is a simple way to keep lead dust away from children and pets. Move cribs or children's beds away from windows to keep kids safe. Make sure to wash your children's hands before they eat. Be sure that everyone removes their shoes before they come in the home. We want to ensure that children are safe. The Douglas County Health Department recommends that all children are tested for lead at ages 1 through 6. For more information on childhood lead poisoning, call the Omaha Lead Hotline at 1-877-LEAD-411 or visit the Omaha Healthy Kids Alliance website at omahahealthykids.org.